The year is 1997 in Zimbabwe. 36-year-old policeman Jefta Dube was on trial for the murder of Patrick Mashiri. This case was particularly interesting because Dube had admitted to fatally shooting his former colleague. He claimed he had done so because the victim kept teasing him and calling him Banana's wife. This was in reference to the 3-year sexual abuse Jefta Dube had endured at the hands of Canaan Banana, a 60-year-old Methodist preacher, theologian, peacemaker, and Zimbabwe's first black president. Hi, my name is Faith Njoroge. Welcome to True Crime Tuesday, a series where I talk about true crime cases in Africa. I upload new videos every other Tuesday. If you like true crime like me, please subscribe to my channel and turn on the notifications. Also, if you would like to find out more about this case, I put links on all of my sources in the description box below. Canaan Banana was born on the 5th of March 1936. After completing primary and secondary school, he first trained as a teacher before being ordained as a United Methodist minister in 1962. In 1961, Canaan Banana got married to Janet Mbuyazwe, and they went on to have 4 children. He proceeded to attain a bachelor's degree in theology and a master's in theological studies. Between 1962 and 1966, he worked as a minister, visiting chaplain, and school administrator. In 1969, he was elected chairman of the Bulawayo Council of Churches. Mr. Banana was a really busy guy at this time, but despite his busy schedule, he was still able to deliver sermons. Zimbabwe was still under British colonial rule at the time, and Reverend Banana used his pulpit to condemn the white regime of what was then Southern Rhodesia. He began denouncing Rhodesia's white minority regime and preached a form of black liberation theology. Banana entered active politics in the colonial period when he became the vice president of the ANC, but the organization was outlawed by the Ian Smith regime, and the ban was followed up by the arrests of several key members of the organization. It was at this time that Banana fled to the United States. Banana was arrested upon his return to Rhodesia in 1975. Between then and independence in 1980, he was detained several times and his publications were banned. During this time, independence was looming and officials assembled at the Lancaster House Conference in London. The British enforced a Westminster-style constitution on the new country, splitting the roles of head of government and head of state. Robert Mugabe became prime minister, and Mugabe's party put up Reverend Banana as its choice for president. Canaan Banana served as a ceremonial president at the assumption of majority rule in independent Zimbabwe. Interestingly, he was not the first choice for this position. It was first offered to the main opposition leader, Joshua Nkomo, but he turned it down because the position had little to no influence. Mr. Banana, on the other hand, was thrilled and gladly accepted the position. Banana, who like Nkomo was from the country's Ndebele minority, was chosen so the new government would be seen to have an ethnic balance. His appointment offset that of Mugabe, who, as head of government, represented the Shona majority. Banana carried out the largely figurehead duties of president from 1980 to 1987, when Robert Mugabe became the executive president. Under the country's new constitution, Banana became the first president in 1980. For much of his time in office, President Banana's job was to look dignified at posh events such as Prince Charles' wedding to Lady Diana. With little to do with his time, Banana turned to a sadistic hobby that he thought that he could get away with. His hobby was sexually assaulting his male attendants. Though he lacked real power, he was quite powerful enough to torment those that were working for him. I should note that at this time, homosexual acts were punishable by jail terms of up to 10 years in Zimbabwe. Some would claim that Canaan Banana's behavior was common knowledge. In fact, most of Harare had heard rumors of his criminal ways during his presidency. Even his wife had known for many years, including one time when one of his victims blatantly told her about it. Most people of influence did nothing, with some of them deciding to move their own aides and officers away from him, while offering no help to his current victims. Okay, so now that we know who Canaan Banana was, we are back to 1997 at Jephthah Dube's trial. Dube told the court that while he was serving as Banana's bodyguard in the mid-1980s, the president had repeatedly sexually assaulted him. Dube claimed that he had been playing in the police football team in 1983 when Banana first spotted him. At some point they interacted and the president invited him to State House for dinner. The dinner was with the president, his wife, and kids. Dube said that the dinner went well and at some point he was given a job as the president's aide. So dinner was over and he and the president went to his office. President Banana brought out some drinks and put some country music on. According to Dube, things started to get weird at this point because the president asked him to dance. He awkwardly agreed because, well, this is the president. But he started getting uncomfortable because the president started pulling him closer and groping him. Dube was obviously creeped out and insisted on leaving. As he walked past, the president spanked him and said with a smile, quote, "This is the food of the elders." Sadly, Dube would find out that this was just the beginning and he wouldn't be the only victim. President Banana finally cornered him in the State House library in 1984 and offered him a Fanta while they were playing cards. Dube got groggy and drowsy and fell on the carpet. He was still on the carpet when he woke up the next morning. He was naked from the waist down and was covered with a duvet. He looked up and saw the president standing over him and smiling. The president then said to him, and I quote, "While you slept, we have helped ourselves." Dube went ahead to narrate how President Banana sexually assaulted him over the next 3 years. His confession encouraged many other victims to come forward with their stories of abuse that they had endured at the hands of Canaan Banana. Nearly all the members of the State House football team had been assaulted or solicited by Banana at some point during his 7-year presidency. Other victims included former students of the University of Zimbabwe, where Banana was chancellor. There were policemen, soldiers, a hitchhiker, a job seeker, housekeeping staff such as cooks, gardeners, and aides, all in Banana's victims list. Some managed to get away from him, including an Air Force officer who punched him and threw him in a swimming pool when he tried to come onto him. Another one jumped through a window to get away from him. A third one shouted so loudly that the First Lady came into the room. Dube described in graphic detail the sexual activities Banana forced him to engage in. He also went on to talk about trying to get transferred to a different job posting, but his superiors just shrugged him off and told him that there was nothing they could do to help him. There was even a time when he tried to get away, but the president had him detained for a weekend to, quote, "get some sense into him." The president had bragged that he was the final court of appeal, which, honestly, in my opinion, was just an illusion of power. Dube was finally able to escape his torment through the help of Simon Muzenda, who was Zimbabwe's deputy prime minister at the time. Muzenda arranged for Dube to transfer out of the State House. While at his new job, his colleagues had somehow found out about Dube's abuse. He started making fun of him and calling him Banana's wife. Tired of the ridicule, Dube shot him in the head. He had pleaded in mitigation in court that the man he shot had embarrassed him, and that's why he committed the crime. However, inasmuch as people felt bad for him, he had still taken someone's life, and he had to face the consequences. The prosecutors had asked for life imprisonment. The judge in this case said the court had to accept evidence that Dube suffered from post-traumatic stress caused by his revulsion to homosexual acts with Banana when he shot the victim in September 1995. He went on to say that the evidence of Banana's sexual abuse was a mitigating factor that reduced the penalty. In 1997, Jefter Dube was sentenced to 10 years in prison for murder, while simultaneously blowing the whistle on a serial rapist. He also went on to file a civil lawsuit against Canaan Banana. Unsurprisingly, Canaan Banana denied all these allegations. He termed them as, quote, a mortuary of pathological lies and a malicious vendetta of vilification and character assassination. However, his time was up, and in 1997, Canaan Banana was arrested in Zimbabwe on charges of sodomy. The charges related to allegations from the state prosecutor stated that Banana had misused his power while he was president to coerce numerous men in positions of service into accepting sexual advances. Banana was brought before a court in 1998 and charged with 11 counts of sodomy. The trial lasted 17 days and the prosecution had around 40 witnesses, including Simon Muzenda. Other witnesses included 2 former police commissioners and Mr. Dube himself. Some of the witnesses described seduction scenes the former president had enacted with them. This included teaching them how to dance while groping and propositioning them. During the trial, Banana's lawyers tried to make Dube's case seem as if he had consented to any sexual encounter, but Dube insisted the sexual contact between them had always been forced, and so did the other witnesses.
Well, all I can say is that my political assassins have been more brutal and brutal.
In January 1998, Banana was found guilty on all 11 counts of sodomy, indecent assault, and unnatural acts by the High Court in the capital, Harare. At this point, he knew the jig was up. He was going to jail. He was out on bail while awaiting sentencing, and apparently, he had heard a rumor that President Mugabe was trying to get him killed. So, he decided to do the obvious thing, which was to put on a fake beard and flee to South Africa. The judge issued an arrest order, revoked Mr. Banana's bail, and asked his lawyer to try and persuade him to return for sentencing on December 10th. Allegedly, while he was in South Africa, he had a meeting with Nelson Mandela, who convinced him to go back home and face the consequences of his actions. He returned to Zimbabwe in December 1998 and was sentenced on the 18th of January 1999. Of the 11 counts that Banana was convicted of, 9 were taken as one for the purpose of sentencing. He was given 2 years imprisonment with labor, with 1 year suspended for 3 years on condition that he does not commit a similar offense. On the other 2 counts involving sodomy and an unnatural act, he was sentenced to 8 years in jail. 3 were suspended for 3 years on condition that he does not commit a similar offense, while another 4 were suspended on condition that Banana pays 250,000 Zimbabwean dollars to Jefter Dube. So basically what I'm saying is, he was sentenced to 10 years in jail, but 9 years were conditionally suspended. Banana's defense appealed against both conviction and sentence, but the full bench of the Supreme Court, consisting of 5 judges, upheld the earlier ruling that 2 years of unconditional imprisonment with hard labor should run concurrently, leaving Banana with just 1 year jail term to serve. He served 8 months and was given an early release due to good behavior. Basically, he got a slap on the wrist, but honestly, are we really surprised? Jefter Dube, who was initially sentenced to 10 years in jail for murder, received a presidential pardon and ended up serving only 3 years. He was released in the year 2000. He died in 2001 at his rural home after a long battle with tuberculosis. He died 3 days after Canaan Banana was released from prison. Janet Banana, Canaan's wife, later discussed her husband's alleged homosexuality and confirmed it, but she still considered the charges against him to be politically motivated. After standing by her husband through his trial, she sought political asylum in Britain in October of 2000. On November 10, 2003, Canaan Banana died of cancer. He was all alone. President Mugabe announced his death on state television, saying that he felt deep sorrow and sadness. Banana was buried without the full honors that are traditionally reserved for former heads of state. He had also not received the full benefits of a former president, such as a state pension. The Secretary of Information and Publicity told State Radio, quote, they could not afford Banana hero status as a matter of principle. Clearly, Canaan Banana was a horrible human being who was masquerading as a respectable statesman, but behind closed doors, he was tormenting his victims. His actions led him to almost being erased from history. Thank you so much for watching until the end. I really appreciate it. I have a few questions for you guys that I would like you to let me know in the comment section. So the first question is, have you ever heard of this case? And the second question is, if a current or former head of state of your country was accused of these crimes that Banana was accused of, how do you think your country would have reacted or responded? Let me know in the comment section and we'll have a chat. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Also, if you would leave suggestions on which African cases I should talk about next, that would be appreciated. And if you'd like to read more on this case, I put links on all of my sources in the description box below. Feel free to check them out. Thank you so much. See you next week. Bye.